Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Today is an unboxing video. It's not orchid related, it's garden related, but you could say it's health related. Those of you who have followed the channel for a while know that there are occasions when my back plays up, and when it does it causes a lot of problems and things can't get done. Most of the things that affect my back take place in the garden rather than in the orchid grow room. The only things really in here that affect my back are cleaning, you know, if I have to sort of wipe all the glass off or mop the floor or something, you know, it's that sort of thing rather than the plants themselves. Taking care of the orchids is doesn't affect my back to any extent. There's nothing in here that's heavy enough or awkward enough to affect that, so we get away with it. However, out in the garden there's an awful lot of work in the garden that involves bending, yeah, and sometimes some heavy stuff as well. So we have a new gadget that's going to aid work in the garden, especially this time of year. That'll give you a clue. But it is a job that up until now I haven't attempted on my own. The problem is clearing up in the garden, you know, weeding, clearing up mess, pruning and clearing up the clippings and all stuff like that involves bending. And most of the time when there's big jobs to do, my daughter Hannah comes down and gives me a hand. And I tend to do a lot of the cutting, she does a lot of the clearing up and the bagging up and things like this. Now, as you know, that huge tree in the garden has finally finished dropping its many tons of leaves all over my garden, even though the tree lives next door. And there comes a time when the leaves need clearing up. Now, I've got a leaf blower that works to a degree, but it only works when the leaves are quite dry. And this time of year you tend to get quite a lot of rain, so it's difficult to find a gap where they're dry enough for the leaf blower to move them around. On the patio they tend to pile up, so with the leaf blower I can eventually blow the leaves into a corner, or the leaves have already in some cases blown themselves up against other things and formed like a pile. But to get at them and put them in a bag means bending over. So we have a new gadget. We have a new gadget that hopefully will aid it. And this is as a result of a viewer saying, why don't you get one of these gadgets? Which I didn't even know existed. And that's happened on quite a few occasions with the garden, where viewers have actually suggested something and I've looked into it and thought, well, that's a brilliant idea. Now often when there's a brilliant idea around I sort of say, why didn't I think of that? Well, if you've never heard of the particular gadget, then obviously you couldn't think of it, could you? And that's the case here, because I didn't know this sort of thing was around. So we will get it out of the box and have a quick look. Hopefully it doesn't need putting together. Looking at the shape of the box, I don't think it does. Right, so we can put the box there. So this is what we've got. And it's a pair of giant hands with long handles for picking up, grab some leaves and put them in the bag holder. No bending. So it's a very simple gadget, plastic. There's no reason why it won't last well, because first of all it won't get used very often. It's only going to get used this time of year, a couple of times a year perhaps, but it'll enable me to pick the leaves up myself, standing upright, and then grab a handful, lean them across and drop them in the bag. And the bag is at waist height. So that's the new gadget, leaf grabber. Very pleased with that. The actual, they're very loose. very loose indeed. But they don't need to be tight, do they? If you think about it, you know, all they're going to do is grab a handful of leaves and pick them up and put them in a bag. And as long as I can get the leaves into a pile, which should be able to be done with a combination of the leaf blower, my long-handled adjustable rake that I got, and a brush, that gets the leaves into a pile, and this picks them up. And then it obviously won't pick up every leaf. There will be a few left lying around. They can always just be brushed up or blown up into one of the beds, you know, to sort of rot down. Anyway, so that's it. A gadget to help aid my back. There's quite a few of the gadgets that have been got for that reason, to stop me having to bend so much and lift. And as long as I can keep working with that in mind, then we should save my back and enable me to carry on working and doing stuff. Because that's the problem, when my back goes, and it can be quite painful, and it's a permanent thing for a while until it gets better again. And the only comfortable thing is sitting in my comfy chair with my back support cushion. You can't stay there forever, can you? Anyway, that's all it was, just to show you my new gadget. Leaf grabber, long-handled leaf grabber. If you were tall, these handles wouldn't be long enough. But for somebody my height, they're perfect. They're waist height. So pleased with that. See you next time. Bye for now.